I think we're on.
We live? We have to wait 30 seconds now for everybody to actually see whether or not we're live.
Yeah, but we just have to not curse for 30 seconds.
Not curse for 30 seconds.
But we can start.
We can start.
Yeah. Well,
hi.
Hi everyone. Welcome to the Hobby Ramble.
Yeah.
I'm Addy.
And my name's Matt. And we're going to hang out, paint some models with you, and talk about what we're doing and try and talk about what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, let's get hobbying.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, what do you have for us today? What did you bring? Let's look at that.
Oh, okay. I have a tiny Ratman. I got these little plague rats, and I have been painting them all sorts of fun colors because I think they're a blast, and I have been bored of painting realistic things, and I want to paint lots of bright colors, so I will be doing that. I'm going to be working with a limited palette. We're going with yellow, green, and violet today, and we're going to see what happens. We're just going to slap some color on and see where we end up.
Awesome. And I brought today, I have this Apothecary Biologist. He's out of the Leviathan box, and I'm painting him up, getting ready for the grand narrative. He's the only model I have in white in the army, so I figured should just do him on his own and not part of a big batch. We'll see. I do have a pretty cool process I found for doing the white armor. We'll see if I get to it because I do need to do all of the other bits and bobs first for that to work.
You have to be brave.
Very brave.
Do all the bits and bobs, and then paint the armor, and hopefully, oh god, hopefully it all works.
Yeah, let's go. We'll go into the overhead, and you can look at our pretty faces.
Yeah, look at us. We have lights. We're very professional. We don't have all the other bits and bobs yet, but we're working on it. Let's set up this palette. Don't put dried paint in your wet palette. It doesn't work so good.
Did you bring a dry palette out here?
No, I didn't.
We got a dry palette.
All right. So, you can see I've got the start of my limited palette that I'm working on. If I had a white palette, it would be easier to see. But we're starting with a blob of dioxazine violet with so flat colors, and then a couple tubes of scale color artist stuff, which they are a little heavier body, but they're kind of creamy and they're really nice and transparent, which is kind of what I'm going for here. Let's see. Otherwise, I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I'm going to have a bit of dark brown here. It's calling this burnt umber, but it's really not burnt umber. I don't know. Some of these colors don't match what they actually are because they don't use the real pigments in some of them. But I'll put some of that down, and I'm going to put this nice warm vanilla white, they call it, which I think is just a lovely warm white to work with.
Looks like a nice ivory.
Yeah. So we're going from there. Creamy dreamy, says Carolyn. That's my wife. Let's see. We're going to start mixing these all together a little bit and setting up some base tones. Got my purple over here. And I'm going to grab this. We're going to work in from the top a little bit. Get them mixed together a little bit. I'm going to make this brown because we learned in our elementary school stuff that if you mix, yellow is the complementary color of purple or violet. And if we mix them together, we get brown, kind of. Depending on how much and how strong the pigment is and all of that.
And that's a nice thing to think about when you're shading models. If you have a yellow model, you can shade it with purple. And you can actually get a pretty nice effect there where the purple shade, so like I use Gucci Violet a lot, it'll actually just start reading as black in the recesses, but it's not black, so like it's not dulling down the yellow because you're not throwing a neutral into the shadows. but you get the same kind of effect.
A cool thing with painting with these really bright colors and just kind of taking them down is they make these colors that you don't really think of when they start mixing. Because like if I mix this purple and green together, it makes this lovely sort of blue color. I don't know. It's really nice. So I'm just starting from the bottom here, slapping on a bunch of my purple, starting to work in and grabbing a little bit more of my green as I move up. And we're working really transparent, really light, and leaning on that zenithal to do a bunch of work for me. Hi, Tycho's behind me. He just licked my elbow to make sure I knew that I was doing a good job. Now he's coughing up that feather he was eating earlier.
Yum.
Yum. No Tycho cam yet. What are you all working on today? Out in the chat. I'm assuming you're not just like doggedly watching us while we're doing all this work. Where are you starting, Maddie?
Just have some Black Templar contrast here, and I'm just blacking everything in. Always starting with the darkest color. That'll be the easiest to touch up later. And then I'll work my way to the lighter color and actually finishing off with the white. I did put on a white prime with an airbrush. And then I also went over it with just a thin coat of white airbrush paint. So it gives me a good color that I know I can match when I have to touch it up because I make a mistake.
You would make a mistake?
Oh, always. Unless I'm doing...
On this, our first of streams?
Unless I'm doing my metallic Thousand Suns where, I mean, I still make mistakes on them, but there's just really no reason to try to fix it. You just either rub it off really quick with a Q-tip or it's battle damage. It's just so much work to get back up. You can do it. I have done it before, where you go back in with the gold, you work it back up with the clear reds, and it does blend in just fine. But it's usually not worth the effort.
Sure. Mr. Carvili's working on yet more Leviathan Primaris Marines. You tired of those yet? I know you got a bunch. Are you working them in with your Phobos? Oops, all Phobos army? Let's see. You can see my guy is starting to look very wild as we get up into the greens and yellows more. And you can see I'm being very careful about where I'm placing all of these colors as I slap them on the model. Jim? 1,000 Suns makes no mistakes. It is just as planned. Addy might agree.
He's not wrong.
Addy might agree. But we were eating dinner before this. We had banh mi's, and they came in a plastic bag. And Addy was having trouble opening up the plastic bag. And
specifically untying
the knot to it. And after about a solid 15, 20 seconds, I go, just tear the bag open. He's like, no, I can't. And there is the difference between Space Wolf players and Thousand Suns players. Just writ small for you. Sometimes you got to rip it open.
It all checked out. I did untie it in the end, and I can reuse that bag now.
For what? We don't know. Nefarious purposes.
It's all part of the great plan.
All part of the great plan.
Like Thousand Suns and Seraphon.
Oh, that's nice of you, Mr. Avocado, for watching us at the shop, or at least having it on. I know those people, those darn customers of yours, coming in there wanting to take all your focus away so you can't watch us paint. Ooh, you got Gravis in now, too? I like Gravis. I do. Maybe a hot take. Is that a hot take?
Gravis? No, Gravis is awesome.
Gravis is awesome.
I'm building some... I'm painting Gravis right now as we
Gravis
speak. And
right now.
I also started building my aggressors. This list has 10 aggressors, or not 10, 6 aggressors. I forget that they come in 3s, and I know I have 2 boxes.
Yeah. Sometimes it's overwhelming. And you're just sitting there going like, man, that's a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
That's a lot of minis to put together. Oh, man.
Yeah, I have very, very many still to put together for this grand narrative.
When is that coming out?
That is in November.
Good grief.
And I have finished painting 20 models for it.
Oh, you finished them.
They need to get based.
Okay, so you didn't finish.
They're not in the mini golf score yet.
They're not in the mini golf score. 30 heavy intercessors. Good grief. That's a lot of bolters, buddy.
They are good though.
They seem good right now. I don't play 40K right now because they keep moving the line on me, but I hear they're interesting.
Did squats get another points drop?
Yeah, about another 20%, another 30%, depending on the model. All my characters went from 75 points or like 70 points to like 60 points, or from 90 to 70. It's wild. I took my 2,000 point list, which was fresh from all the index stuff, and then I plugged it all in, and I have 1,600 points, something like that. Ooh. It's okay. That fits. It neatly fits 10 more Einherjar, which is what I'm most excited to have.
Well, that's good. At least you get models you want.
No.
My Talus went down like 250 points.
Oof.
Yeah. And and Riptides went down, so I can bring a Riptide and like Pathfinders still. Like there's a lot of room in the list now. Wow, this just looks okay. Black Templar.
Oh yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. I'll probably just use it for blacking anything in that's going to get another color over it.
Sure.
And I'll come back. It's good for the webbing. Like I actually like that, but everything else that I actually want black
spreads out a little bit more.
Just doesn't quite do it for me. Good thing. Did I bring I didn't bring the black out. Okay, I'll have to go get that.
You don't have any black? I don't have any black because I'm being brave and artistic over here. You can see I got the whole guy kind of sketched out in a little bit of a gradient from that violet down at the bottom up to a yellow up top. Let me see if we can put it in a way that's actually viewable there. So I'm just going to kind of be patient, maybe focus on the base a little bit while everything sort of dries up so I don't peel up my paint that I've been working on. Maybe pick up some of this brown from the middle of my stuff and start blocking in these squares under here a little bit. Oof. That's rough, Raft. Got 1,000 points of Grey Knights put together last Monday, and I got another 300 to put together. That's a lot. I know. I was in that push with my Grey Knights right before Waystone opened. And I played one game with 1,000 points. I'm like, well, I have to push. I have to get this whole thing done because I had too much fun there. And I want to go back and play more games. So I felt like I just had to go. And I did. But oof, it was a push. Every now and then, though, a push feels all right.
Yeah. I kind of like having a lot of different models for an army, just in different stages of build. So I can work on painting one, but then I can always just jump around and say like, oh, I'm gonna paint this. I'm gonna paint this other model, or I'm gonna go in and build this unit that I have sitting around. Mm-hmm. It just keeps everything fresh.
Sure, that makes sense.
Especially because I tend to do a lot of army painting in big batches, 20 to 30 models at a time. It's nice I got something like this. Look, I already messed up a little bit. I'll have to clean that up in the armpit. It's probably the tightest spot. And this is where I really like the contrast paints.
Does it just pull up real nicely for you?
Yeah, just kind of... Ooh, that's pretty bad. Whoopsie. I'll try to soak this up as best we can. I know we'll have to come back there and touch it up, but at least it won't be super dark.
Don't want to be super dark. Let's see. I don't really know where I want to go from here. I'm just going to start working in other colors. Maybe more yellow in this mix. And we just start.
Yeah, so you're coming in. You have no plan.
I have no plan.
You're just going.
Just going. This is, hey, that's broadcasting. If you can't wing it on the spot, then are you interesting to what? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. I find that it's fun with these rats, especially to just see what's going on. I know the palette that I'm working with. I know that I can mix whatever colors I need that are going to be in there. And I go from there.
Yeah, apothecaries are in white armor. That's that is a thing. Which is, it's a choice. It's a choice they make. But I guess if you're not codex compliant, then it doesn't matter.
I don't know the colors of anything. I make it up as I go, and then everybody's like, "Oh, so that's what you're doing?" And I go, "Yeah, is there a problem with that?" And they go, "Well, it's not right." And I go, "I don't really care."
Well, you space wolves.
Yeah, I just picked something where I don't have to be right. So now as I'm working over this, I'm going to start working in a little bit more white into this because white is not transparent, and it gives me something to work off as I keep painting this model out. The essential oils. The paint got key aminos. Yeah. It's very important. If you want to recover, be big and strong, you gotta eat your paint. That's just how it is. Please don't eat your paint, anybody. I'm not cleaning my brush off.
Are you a brush licker?
I'm totally a brush licker.
I can't do it.
Can't do it.
No.
I don't eat the paint, which is like small comfort to anybody else, but after I rinse my brush, I do tend to give it a point with there.
So you don't eat that much of your paint.
Don't eat paint, boys. Oh, no. My wife is watching me work. She's just going to tell on me. I'm telling on myself.
I mean, you know, if it's leaded, it's very sweet. It's kind of nice to have.
This is not that kind of paint.
The reason I don't ever lick my brush is also because I use oils fairly often. And those, you don't even want to lick your brush after you rinse it.
Nope, that's bad. Tastes like death.
Yep.
Not that I have, but that's how everybody describes it. Oh no, it tastes like I'm dying. Cool. Cool.
Yeah, okay. So this is the first time I've actually used Black Templar as a contrast paint and not as just a nice thick black wash. It's very gray. I mean, this is very sloppy, but
Yeah.
it is not.
It's not what you expected.
No, I wanted it to be just a little bit darker. So I'll get the real black out.
You're gonna go get your big boy black.
Yeah. But meanwhile, you know, I like it. I still like it for the webbing. It feels very good there because it's doing it in one step, and it's such a finicky spot to begin with to get it into all the little crevices. That if I can do it without having to go back, I'm just less likely to slip up and get paint where I don't want it.
Sure, that's fair. Yeah, if you Dark Vengeance.
Which ones are the Dark Vengeance possessed?
Is that a kilting box? Mr. Avocado making the point that if you crush some cadmium yellow in your mouth, you'll probably get your superpowers. Please don't do that. That will maybe kill you.
Yeah, also...
Heavy metals.
Don't put cadmium through your airbrush.
Don't do it. Just don't. It's never worth it. I watched some awful video on YouTube once where a guy was trying to smooth out his 3D prints by airbrushing liquid UV resin on top of it to fill in the gaps. And I'm like, oh no, that's cancer. He's like, well, I'm being very safe and putting it in a tent. And I'm like, well, that's a cancer tent. Don't do this. Don't aerosolize that.
Yeah, that sounds... Is the old Star Set with CSM and Dark Angels? Ooh, how old is that? That sounds like 6th edition, maybe.
That's a classic right there. I wasn't doing this at that point.
No, I was on Warhammer break. I played 3rd edition. I think I remember 4th coming out, and then I didn't do much else. Oh, hi Tycho. Are you coming to help?
There he is.
Oh, hi, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Champion of the world, Tycho here.
Thank you. Are you keeping us safe by barking at everyone in the backyard? Yeah, you gonna help us paint?
Big
Thanks.
cough. Yeah. Thanks, bud.
Dark Angels with Red Corsairs in 6. Oh, and 7.
6th and 7th. They redid it. That's cool.
Yeah, do you think I should... I think I'm going to go pick up some Black Legion and try that out.
I know a lot of people like it.
Yeah. You know, I see using it all the time. Peachy, on his not on his streams, but on his painting tutorials.
Oh yeah.
He uses that for everything that he blacks out.
That's probably a very efficient paint then. That boy crushes efficiency.
Let's take a look at what you're doing. Let's take
Oh shoot, I'm wandering off. I'm wandering off camera. I'm not used to this. So I'm kind of, at this point, trying to just start bringing these highlights that I put in there that are in this yellow and trying to work that all the way down as I keep going. And as I grab a color off my palette, I'm not really thinking about what color it is. I'm not trying to... this is all color mixing. It's being loose and fluid with it, and if you grab one and it's not quite right, well, you put it down and you move to the next one. And you keep mixing in different colors. Right now I'm heavy into the yellow side of all of this, and I keep just sort of following the folds of their fabric because I like to think of them as kind of drippy. My wife mentioned that they look drippy, or like moss is hanging off of them. Like the sculpts themselves look a lot like that. And so I just only want to paint them like that because that makes a lot of sense and it's a good visual for it. And the sculpts really lend themselves to it. So I'm kind of going in that direction. I have to remember to paint their faces though, because I get so excited about painting butts Backs are always my favorite part of the model for a lot of these like non-space marines to paint.
Yeah, because they don't have this just flap over their butts.
Yeah. There's just so many other things going on, and I'm like, I don't want to worry about all this other stuff. This is going to be slow going too because I'm working with yellows, which even with the white in them are pretty transparent, and I think my paint's a little more watered down than I want it to be.
Yeah, you know, one of my favorite tricks for yellow is pink undercoat.
Oh, the classic pink undercoat.
It works so darn well.
It does. You know, all those the color theory works out. The math.
Yeah,
the color
the
math
checks out.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, I know. Are you tired of painting trim yet, Mr. Avocado? Seems like, I don't know. Do your Stormy boys have that going on? Oh, I don't know if he can even hear me. I forget that he's working. Yeah. He's a busy man.
Well, here's the thing: is that Space Marines have trim. Chaos Space Marines have filigree.
Oh, okay.
That's really the difference. Where
that's the difference.
It's not just trim. It's now you have this like swoop and a curve and a little like dot, and you have to get the eye just right in the trim.
I'm not gonna lie, I love the trim. I don't really mind painting all of it.
I do like painting my trim. That's why I have 1,000 Suns. But at some point,
you have to stop.
Yeah, when it takes me about an hour per model to do the trim, you know, you need the dopamine you need to finish something. I considered trying to finish my 1,000 Suns for the grand narrative, and then I realized that there is no chance.
There's no chance.
There's no chance.
So he picks up an entirely new army instead.
Yeah.
This is the strategy.
But they're Space Marines.
Yeah, I know, Mr. Carvili. You are well versed in Chaos trim. This dude cranks Chaos Space Marines.
He posted in the Waystone Discord that he has a finished army. Meanwhile, there's like, I don't know, 15,000 points of Chaos Space Marines. Like, that's not a finished. That's like 5 to 6 finished armies right there.
No, he finished all of them. Each soldier has a name in the actual Black Legion. That's how it works. Let's see. We're starting to make progress. I don't know if it really sells on the old camera, but we're starting to work our way down the back. Something that I find is challenging is when I want to share these models with anybody, cell phone cameras don't really know what to do with them because the colors are too bright. And they try to either make the colors more bright or it just doesn't know what to do.
That's good. That's kind of what you want, right?
Yeah. I want to paint something that blows the mind, blows the tiny AI of my cell phone. Let's see. Oh, don't look there. There lies madness. Brave Addy is looking in the analytics of our stream.
I'm just seeing what I can see here.
100 legionaries and chosen, man. Wow. That is a lot of chaotic gentlemen. Let's see.
Do you have any rubrics in your army?
Can you take those? And I imagine you
You
can.
can.
It's
Can.
just not very good.
Oh, I mean, they used to be really good. They're actually Flamer rubrics were better in CSM than in Thousand Suns because this is a ninth edition. They would get
Sure.
more shots. But you could. They're also not. They weren't troops, so
Sure.
they were elites. Back when we had those. Yeah, I feel like rubrics are just in this point, like they're old enough that a lot of their trim isn't that sharp. There's a lot of it, but not some of it is some of the like kind of like rounded blending of panels so they can come out of the mold.
Sure.
And that's what makes them so hard to paint, in my opinion, versus like the Scarab Occults that are much sharper.
That makes sense.
You don't have to like invent your edges.
You still rocking that black contrast? Has your opinion changed on it?
No,
No?
I still don't like it, but it's quite nice because so I have found, especially going over such a bright color, that even the like Vallejo model color black might end up just a little bit gray,
Sure.
with the white showing through. So I do want to, I can show everyone what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I do want to get this on because actually like over here, right, this is quite gray, a little like much lighter than I want it to be. But once I hit it with the Vallejo model color black, it will fix that. Yeah, I'm glad that Satramon Curvili agrees with me that rubrics are tough to paint. And I still have 15 of them that I also have to build. Like I have to paint at least 10 more because of the way I built my boxes. I built them with 9th edition in mind where I could kind of mess with the sizes. I could take anywhere between 5 and 10, not only 5 or 10.
Yeah.
So now I have 8 Flamer rubrics and 12 Bolter rubrics.
Woof.
Yeah.
That's rough, bud.
So, got to fix that.
I like that you've got good representation of all the trades. You got rubrics, you got plague marines and berserkers. I understand the 15 plague marines. I think they're the coolest. They look like they'd be very fun to paint. But then I wouldn't want to do 50 of them.
I don't know. That'd be kind of fun. There is this person who makes their 3D printable nautical themed Death Guard.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
And they're so cool.
They're pretty cool. There's somebody I've seen an Instagram account where they're doing a lot of that. I think that's pretty cool.
When I looked at it, you could basically like build 1,000 points with it without having to print anything twice.
Sure.
And I was like, that's cool. I might do that. I need to get a 3D printer first. It's on the wish list.
One day.
Yeah. This is where I was. It's like I couldn't remember what I was painting.
Says he feels bad giving you the Scarab Terminators. So he figured they were so tough to paint. They want to add it to the backlog.
Oh no, I have 15 Scarab Occults in the backlog. I only have 5 painted. It's just been a very slow going army, and it's also because I've been painting it to a very high level.
You made that mistake.
Yeah.
We've all made that mistake.
And it's fun. I enjoy it. I enjoy having them on the table, but it also is hard to stay motivated for that long painting troops. You know, like I'm painting troops to the same level that I paint characters in most of my other armies. Yeah, like, you know, I paint the undersides of things. I paint the parts that you know, can only see when you pick the model up.
I did the same thing with my space wolves. I deeply enjoyed them, and then the rules started just drifting away from me on them. Or they're just not. They don't feel as much fun to play. So they sit and they wait, and I'll pull them out at some point. Yeah, there's definitely something to just cranking them out. I respect you for doing it. I think I start every army project thinking about something that I want to do better or experiment with, or I don't know, learn as I'm going. My space wolves, I was scared of painting faces, so I painted only faces. I sculpted hair and beards on all of them and all that. And went a little hard on everything. But then my Heresy Space Wolves, I learned how to paint with oils. So that was fun. And then my Dwarves are more of a grimdark experiment.
Yeah, lots of weathering on this.
Lots of weathering. They're very fun. I just try and learn something new with each one, but it's because I'm here for the painting, generally speaking.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite parts too. Like what I like doing is I like looking at an army and kind of picking a theme for it and then building a list around it. And you know, I might never play that list. Like I'll build the army and I'll paint it with that idea in mind. But then I might never put it on the table.
Yeah.
And it would just be fun as a concept.
Yeah, I've noticed you're always coming up to me with a, now here, if you ran this, you could do this, and you could do this, and you could do this, and then here's this big dumb plan. But it'll be super fun, very flavorful. We're gonna run with it. Is oops all jet bikes.
Yeah.
White scars. This is.
It's perfect though. It's exactly what you want. Oops all jet bikes. And it works, and the list works. It has all the parts that it needs. It can get +7 to the charge. This is for Heresy White Scars. Which is, you know, it's not nothing. +7. It's like you're basically making every charge you attempt.
It's wild. This is in contrast to your Thousand Suns, which is just like nobody's able to move. Ever.
Yeah, if I can outmove you, I'll generally do well. Not you personally. I mean, definitely.
No,
you
me personally.
But also, most other armies, because my shooting is just good enough, and if I can engage on my terms,
Sure. Keep working down this yellow, and it's taking longer than I expected, but that's okay, because I feel like it's taking a long time, but then I look at the clock and I'm like, oh, it's been half an hour. And that's an acceptable amount of time to be working on a rad-looking model.
Okay, well I think I gotta do that, and then I'm probably done with this black. I'll probably go on to some other colors before I go over everything with black a second time.
Sure.
Which is sad. I don't like doing that.
No.
No, rather, especially with black, I'd like to get it done in one coat.
Sure, that's fair.
You know, it is a paint that should have the ability to cover.
Totally. Putting some green down. Ooh, you got Horus Ascended coming in? That's very exciting. I hear he's a big scary model, but I haven't looked at anything.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, he's probably the second largest Primarch now. Now that Fulgrim Ascended is coming out. Because that guy is huge.
Well, the wings alone.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Poke your eye out.
All of the anti-resin feelings, which I get it for the wings. The rest of it, I don't know. I'm not spooked by resin, but I understand that it can be an uncomfortable thing for people.
I think that also Finecast did a lot.
Oh, yeah. It really messed people up. Resin is fine cast, and fine cast is resin, and there's no other way to do it. Taking a break from painting the cloak and working on his big old book in the middle. So I got this handy dandy mix of all three of my colors. I'm just kind of going in there and putting in some brown. And like these sort of stabby motions. I don't know. I'm not really thinking about where my brush is touching for each stroke. This is a very relaxing way to paint for that reason. You really don't have to think that hard about it. You're just kind of working until you feel like you're done. I'll probably go back through there. You know what? Let's grab a little bit of my white, grab my yellow, and my purple there. Start mixing a lighter shade of brown. Are you spooked at painting it, Mr. Carvili? I felt like I wasn't scared of painting Russ when I painted him, but I think I just got tired of it. It's just a big model can really take it out of me sometimes when I'm just like, I just want to be done with this. So then I walked away from it, and by the time I come back to it, I'm just sitting there going, I don't really feel like doing this anymore. So I should have done it all at once. But even then, sometimes the upcoming game is interesting enough that you don't have to work up too much to it.
Yeah, I definitely feel that on big models. I don't love painting characters because of that. Like that anxiety of like, well, I got to get this one right. It's got to be good because there's only one of them. Unlike painting, just average schmoes that are gonna die. It's like I'll mess up like on every model while I'm doing it, but it means that I can learn, and just what I learn I can apply to the next one, and I know that there's going to be an infinite flow of them. Unlike this one apothecary biologist that I'll probably only ever have one of.
There, you're gonna go back and really, really nail that. I'm gonna go back to Black. What is it? Black Templar again?
Never. Never again. we got this. Oh, we gotta get his knee.
We're just gonna.
And then it is nice for like these pieces that I know I'm gonna go over with again, like all of the metals that I'm just blacking in, so the metal will read a little bit better on them. Like that's nice. It's good. It's got like decent coverage. It kind of smushes around the way I'd want it to. But
it doesn't spark joy.
No.
Going through and adding some brown fur on the boy, because similar to what you're dealing with, sometimes it's just easier once you block out some other parts. I'll probably go back in and add my other colors on top of this a little bit. I think if I was really a good fartist about this, I would be mixing these on the model with little dips and dabs of color. But I don't really want to move like that. I kind of like moving a little faster.
Yeah.
I can go back in and...
He looks great.
Isn't it fun?
Yeah.
Like, it all just kind of comes together. It's just time.
Yeah, I think it would be really cool to do the Horus Ascended in, like... I would do it even darker than a dark Sons of Horus green. I would do, like, a very green-black. So like it's still, it has that tie-in to the rest of the army, but you can see that it is not just one shade darker, but many shades darker.
I feel like my issue whenever I'm thinking about that is like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I look back on my models and they're just so dark that it's just a blob of sludge, and you can't see that I highlighted this thing 3 times. No, it doesn't look like that because you painted in very dark shades the whole time. I can just get a little mucky.
Yeah, I mean, we have, I think, I have a 30K Magnus sitting on my little paint stand.
I'm waiting
little paint rack that he got a bath. And he's sitting in bits. I haven't even built him yet. And it's mostly that I just had so many other projects that it just wasn't that high of a priority.
But now that my Russ is done.
Yeah, so we can play a game where I don't just run away the whole time. Bravely evade Russ for 4 turns. It worked.
It did work. It did work. He almost one-shot your big tank in a fit of rage at the end, but otherwise...
He was so mad the tank just drove in front of him.
Mm-hmm. It just drove in front of him. Couldn't even charge anybody else. And that's when you just really got to send a message. And you throw a tantrum, and you put an axe through a tank hull.
I think he did 5 hull points.
Yeah.
And,
5 of 6 on the Spartan. He doesn't joke around. He does what he says on the tin, which is murder things.
yes. He definitely tried.
Running away does work very well.
Yeah.
If you're trying to win the game, running away is a great option. It is the coward's way, but it is a great option.
It's a tactical maneuver.
This is untying the untying of the banh mi bag.
Yep.
Right there. It's a tactical maneuver. So is getting the sandwiches. What kind of sandwich does Magnus order?
Is it supposed to be like Is there like a punchline here?
No, I want to know because I don't understand him.
Well, it really depends on, kind of like what's he feeling like, but also like what is in season.
Oh, he's a seasonal boy.
Yeah, it's just got to get the right thing.
Sure.
It's really considered. It's a long process to figure
It's
out.
a long process. We have to call in the whole committee.
Yeah, all the fellowships get involved. They talk about it.
Hash it all out.
Do some magic.
Oh, dang, I'm actually... See? Every once in a while, you hit a point on the model where you're just like, oh, that looks like a thing.
Yeah.
That's starting to look like a little Ratman. It's just, I think of these when people are really spooked about painting. So I'm like, I just slap some colors on. This would look great on the table.
Yeah.
Everybody would be like, how'd you do that? I go, yellow, green, purple.
Yeah, I think there's this this view of wanting to wait to paint something until you're,
Emotionally ready.
I think emotionally ready is one thing, but good enough.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is that you're always getting better. The more you paint, the more time you put in, the better you'll get. So there's always you can always wait another step until you get that much better to paint it. But there's always going to be something else to wait for.
You never do.
So
I know. I feel that.
just paint the model today.
Just paint it. It might not be great. It might not be the best thing you've ever done, but do you want it to be the best thing you'll ever do? Like, do you want to stop getting good then?
And if it's like if you ever want to paint it again, there's always LA is totally awesome.
Yeah, it's cheap.
Yeah, I have a bottle of it in the basement because I'm going to strip.
Journey to destination. There we go.
Yeah.
It's very Sanderson of you, Carolyn. Yeah. I feel like Mr. Cravili talking about Isaac's iron fists. Good grief. Those deep strikes. It's terrifying. Every time I play him, I feel like I get through turn 1 and 2 and I start feeling bad. I start feeling like, oh no, did I go too hard on this? Did I really just get really sweaty over this and blow up his whole army? And then turn 2 or 3 comes in and his deep strike comes in and I'm like, I'm in trouble. I am in danger and I'm going to die.
I am in danger. That is, I've played it once and I think I won by just having so much chaff.
Sure.
That he couldn't chew through.
He couldn't chew through it.
Yeah, just not enough attacks.
He dropped in so many Terminators. He almost surrounded the Spartan that all of my Terminators and Russ were riding in. He almost totally circumvented it so they wouldn't have been able to disembark. It would have been an absolute mess. There's a lot of rule reading around then. Oh, goodness. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, the way Deep Strike works in Heresy is
very good.
Kind of, there's some weird limitation. The limitations are so loose that you can come in, right, and you can just go one model here, then you can just make a big old line that goes across. He got a semicircle around my whole army when he came in. This is pretty good.
Yeah, it's coming along.
It's coming along. I'm going to do the reds next.
What is red on an apothecary?
The tabard is red, and then there is just all the apothecary emblems, And then his hands, because he's a Crimson Fist.
Crimson Fist. Really not about the subtlety.
No. And I gotta get his one shoulder pad that's blue.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's pretty good. At that point, I could go get the other black and fix this mess that I made.
I wish I had my black here. I'd help you out.
I mean, it's in the other room.
Oh,
It's not very far.
It's not very far. You just have to climb the rock wall and go up to your second story. This is how Addie's house is laid out. You have to traverse floors by rock climbing and bouldering. It's perilous. For a big boy like me, it's perilous. And he told me if I want to use the bathroom, I have to get there.
He's been holding it for
I've been holding it for a long time. Let's see. I'm just gonna keep.
Oh, thanks, Tycho. Oh, are you helping?
Got some good elbow licks. Hey, bud, how you doing? We can see a nose on stream trying to lick. Oh man, I'm talking about that doubles game. It was a mishap. We started off trying to do this big doubles game where Garrett was going to have his guys in the middle of the field, and they were going to be surrounded by the traders that were coming in to take him over, and the Wolves were going to come in turn 2 and help and
Save the day,
or maybe not. Who knows? But try. And unfortunately, he got wiped off the board turn 1.
Oh, no.
Almost. I think there were like 3 or 4 models left. It was a rough one, everyone. And then Space Wolves came in and just... It's my first time learning about how the intercept reaction works. And she's a harsh mistress.
Yeah,
That's a tough one.
probably one of the strongest abilities in the game. That and the Artificer Armor Sergeant.
Sure. I take full advantage of that one. All right. So what do I want to do with this? I feel like I might want to work in some highlights of other colors as I move further down and add a bunch of... Maybe start glazing in some purple in some of the shadows a little bit more. We're going to start seeing what happens.
And I'm here off the camera, but I'm just working on some reds, getting some color on here, which is very bright over white.
I'm hoping we get to see your brave swing at all the shading, but probably not.
No,
Are you gonna get there? Think you're gonna get there?
No, if this black worked in the first go, then I probably would have gotten close enough to it. Let's take this fella off his base and cradle him gently in my hand, so I can paint the backside of the tabard.
Yeah, those multi-meltas, man. There were so many of them. They killed so many boys. See, I am mixing my colors in with some of my white there. I'm still learning how to set up a palette. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't have an art degree. I just pretend to have one.
Well, I have 2, so we can share.
Yeah, oh, good. My wife's got 2. I have an honorary MFA after all the times I've spent in critiques and shows and talking about projects and...
Yeah, none of my art degrees have to do with paints. or anything close to them. You can do pictures and product.
Pictures and product. What are we even doing with this stream? We're not artists.
We're just here to have a good time.
Dang. Multi-meltas and las cannons and everything.
I know las cannons are better, but I really like meltas in Heresy.
This is gonna be a heresy chat today. In the mood. Let's see. I'm working in some highlights of this lime green. Kind of working that up a little bit above where I want them, a little bit below where I want it. Trying to make this guy look nice and drippy. Maybe take a little bit off of this edge. This feels a little harsh. Yeah, none of us know what we're doing. That's kind of what I was... The genesis of the whole broken brush thing was thinking of a lot of conversations I've had with people where they feel like they're doing something wrong or that something is broken, and it's just not like that. Your brush isn't broken. There's nothing going on that's wrong. You're just gonna keep working on stuff.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time actually painting with these brushes, especially like this one.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll be able to see, but it's kind of just like a crap brush. It's like $4 at Blake. It's totally frayed at the tip. We're gonna get there. We go.
There we go. Sweet spot.
Yeah, so it's kind of it's like bent over. All the hairs are kind of frayed.
A nice little hook to it.
Yeah, and I just I'll just grab this and do so much with it. And it's the only time I need a small brush is if I'm trying to like squeeze it into like a really small spot. It's not actually about doing finer work most of the time. It's just about getting it into, it's like I need to do something like the webbing that's like way back there. A smaller brush will let me get in there without like hitting the side or anything. Yeah, I do a lot of work with Rosemary and Co. number 2.
Oh yeah, got one right here. Yeah. Lovely brush.
Is that the first one or the second one?
I think this is the first one.
Yeah, this is the first
one. But it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first got that brush, man, the tip was so sharp. I felt scared to use it. Like, I'm like, if I just like tap something with it, I'm just gonna splay this all out. It's gonna get all weird. This is a champ of a brush, man. It lasted me like 8 months, 9 months.
Yeah.
Something like that, and it's still not busted. It's just not the sharpest it's ever been.
I actually felt like it was too sharp.
Yeah.
Where I didn't want to use it because it would actually take too long to put up layers on stuff because it's just so tiny.
Yeah, you need a beater to do more work. We've been informed that the sound of us cleaning our brushes is very upsetting on mic.
Is it?
That was our covert message received via text. Only the finest of subscribers get access to the direct chat. the direct text message. Yeah. We guard it jealously. Yeah, we'll work on it. Going back to that previous message, we don't know what we're doing.
No. I mean, we're just painting toy soldiers.
I'm just painting a tiny Ratman.
I do hear these apothecaries are actually very good.
I hope they do lots of good at your grand narrative.
This is assuming I finish painting everything in time.
Well,
We'll see.
let's see. Let's see. It is a little tricky when you need white for everything.
It's a good thing I only need white for one guy. Or are you talking about your thing?
I'm talking about my thing.
Okay. I'm talking about my
All
thing.
my paints are so transparent that when I'm trying to work colors in, I need to work white into all the colors in order for them to put a mark on my model. Which is fine. This is just stuff I'm learning. I haven't worked with these few paints. Some of my other ones worked real well right off the bat. So, we learn things.
I mean, that's also, I think, why the blends end up being so nice on that.
Oh, yeah, it's all... it's all just layers of transparent paints. And they're all the same 3 colors.
Yeah.
So it's... If you want to make a unified looking model, if you only have 3 colors of paint that you're using, it's going to look unified. Sometimes maybe a little bit too much. I like his little kneecap there. That's one of my favorite parts on the model.
Yeah, because, I mean, you really get that, like, OSL effect there.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
Amethyst and red. It's very red.
It's very red. Covers.
Yeah. Well, this is third coat. I only have the air version of it. So.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, that'll take a little bit more.
Yeah. It's nice. It's very smooth.
I bet. Better be. If it's an airbrush paint.
I think it's a little bit brighter than I really want, but I can just throw a wash over it, and it'll look great. Yeah, sometimes with this airbrush paints, I'll actually use my dry palette and put them on there and let it sit for a minute.
You just thicken them up a little bit.
And then start working with them.
No, I don't think that's a terrible idea.
Probably better than putting like cornstarch in your paint.
Have you done that?
I have not.
Is that a thing?
I mean, I'm sure someone's tried it. I don't think it's a good idea.
I'm sure someone's tried it, maybe to varying degrees of success. It feels like it might be a bad idea.
Yeah, if somebody tries it, let us know how it goes.
Let us know. Got to write it down, otherwise it's not science. That was a fun little... So I put some paint that had a little bit too much white in it. And then I put some more of my transparent paint on there and wet blended with it. And it did just what I wanted it to do. Like, I mean, the YouTube folks... I guess we're YouTube folks, ain't we?
Yeah. We are the folks now.
A lot of the YouTube videos you watch, they'll mention that, like, oh, well, it's not... Even if we're presenting it as a series of linear steps, it's not. It's, it's a lot of back and forth and a lot of feeling things out and going back and changing things. But I still feel like they say that, and then they continue to present the material that way.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if anybody has been brave enough to sit here and watch me futz with this paint for an hour, you know that I'm just touching things and moving back and touching them again and moving back and just working this green down. Up and down and back and around and everything else. That's just what it is.
Yeah, this is a very strange way for me to paint a model.
Yeah.
I usually do the main armor color first, do the whole thing, and I varnish it. And then I go back and do all the details.
I don't know if I would have done this the same way. I know I understand the instruction from Darcy. What am I putting my hand in? Man, I must have really dipped into the paint. I only had got one smudge on the table.
It's not bad.
That's not bad considering I have it all over my hands. What did I do?
What did you do?
What did I do?
You just...
I don't know. This is a thing my wife laughs at me about.
Yeah, like I'm not...
I'm a messy person. When I get a new shirt, it's just a matter of time before I destroy the shirt with some sort of grease stain or other something. I don't know. I'm just a messy boy. And as you know, we're doing the best we can. Let's start painting in these horns. I'm going to try and just keep the brown to the sort of buff color that I've made here. I'm going to try and keep that just to the highlights of it so I can keep maybe some of this green.
Yeah.
As I work it up.
I do see why I want to do all these colors first, because I mean, like, I'm not the most careful painter, but I'm like pretty good at staying in the lines, and I definitely slipped a few times, just little things that I could kind of like push over with the brush, and then I'll come back and touch them up, but it's going to be really easy to touch them back to white instead of trying to touch them back into some kind of a gradient gray.
Sure. If you want to borrow my sexy specs, you can. You are welcome to them.
I have mine inside too.
I just know that helps me with. If I wasn't painting, that's part of my strategic selection of which model I'm going to be painting. Is like, oh, I can see this pretty well, and it's a little bit of a fuzzier thing to be painting than I'd need the sexy specs for. We are going to work this in.
I just try to only paint things that don't require me looking that closely at things with this army. Because that's a lot of work if I need
strategic.
to look this closely. And this army needs to be done. That's what I set out to do. I set out to finish the whole army. Once I see what I'm bringing to the event, I'm probably going to sell whatever extra models I ended up with. Because I did buy a Blood Angels Combat Patrol because it's just such a good deal to get.
You're a sucker for a deal.
Yeah, I mean, I got most, like, I basically needed everything that was in the box except for the, like, upgrade sprues and the Librarian. So just selling off those things makes it that the price of the price of the box was like the price of an impulsor and half a box of aggressors.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And it comes with infiltrators and intercessors. Yeah, I use my camera all the time to look up close. That's like, I also use it to kind of judge of like how much further do I need to push this. If like, if the camera can see it, then I'll think about it. If the camera can't see it, then I know it's done.
That's fair.
You have to remember also that a lot of the digital cameras will sharpen your image. And what happens, the way that sharpening works in digital photography is that it increases the contrast between pixels. So it means that any kind of texture or irregularity in your paint job will get amplified by the phone camera.
Yes. Which is why when I'm sharing these models, these wrap models with people, I always take a photo and I'm like, it's not that all over the place. The brush lines aren't that strong on these, but I also really don't care because it's part of the intention of this project, or this little experiment, is...
Living with chaos.
Yeah, I like making brush strokes. I feel as though they are much maligned by the community, and I think they give a lot of character to the miniatures. And I know, this might sound like I'm full of myself, I know that I'm very capable of having a really smooth gradient on things. I know that I'm technically capable of painting really, really clean models. And I don't want to do that anymore, unless I want to do that.
There we go. You gotta do what you want to do. I'm doing pretty good on red here, too. Yeah, a lot of times it's also the, it's like the, oh, we're not even seeing this. Let's go. We'll go to the front view.
Oh, yeah, you're stuck looking at rats.
I do this, Does it look good from over here? I'm like, that's good enough for me. Because that's about as far as people are going to be seeing it, most of the time.
It was really helpful to me when I played my first game and actually got to see, like, oh, no, they can't see any of this. So, like, I can do it for me, but I also know that, like, at a certain point, having 10 of a thing down on the board evens out all those little bits and bobs that I wish I would have gotten on the first pass.
Yeah, and having them done always looks better than them not being done.
Yeah, I'm one of those people where I would rather play with unfinished models and play a full game than
yeah,
really struggle through getting everything down or playing a much smaller game. I love having a fully painted set of models, but
I feel like it does make such a difference.
Oh, it really does. It's very fun to see pretty painted models.
Maybe we'll do the other red first, and then we'll go to blue.
Adding
Red hands.
red hands.
This is, I think, one of the best reds on the market. Corn red.
Corn red?
You can't beat it.
Sometimes I don't like it because it's a little cool.
Yeah.
For me. But for the fact that it will cover in one step and then you can kind of do whatever you want to do, it's very effective for how GW wants people to paint their models.
I think it's also a very unique red that I just haven't seen done by anyone else.
That's true.
Have a lot of very similar colors, and none of them are just quite right. It's almost like a maroonish, kind of a little burgundy, but not quite. It's definitely still reads as red.
Yeah.
But it's a little less saturated than Mephiston red. And I actually don't tell GW this, but I highlight my corn red with Mephiston red. They're both base colors.
Oh, they do it too.
But it looks great.
They do it in all their videos. They start with corn red, they go to Mephiston reds, they go to whatever, Scar.
Evil Sun Scarlet.
Evil Sun Scarlet. I get so tired of watching their videos.
I haven't seen them highlight corn red with Mephiston red. I don't know if I've ever seen it. I'm not. I also don't watch that many of their videos.
For the same reason that I'm tired of watching them. It's just, I don't know. They're very helpful for a lot of people, but I feel like it's very much teaching a system, and once you learn the system, there's nothing there for you. Sometimes it's nice to have in the background for me.
Yeah. And I do, the thing that I wish they would do, that I I really appreciate what Two Thin Coats, what Duncan Rhodes did with his paints, is he organized them into triads. It is very helpful to know that if I want to paint a color, I can just pick up these three. It's going to just work. I don't need to think about it too much. While I say that I like it, I do think that it can also be very limiting in the way that you think about colors because, I don't shade my yellows or highlight my yellows with yellow. I paint I undercoat my yellows with pink. I paint them yellow, then I shade them with purple and highlight them with a tan color.
Yeah.
And that is not a set that exists.
No, it doesn't exist. Well, I mean, look at what I am doing today.
Yeah.
This isn't something that you can do with that. Like you have to break that part of your brain a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of that also just comes with experience of getting used to what colors work for you and what you like doing.
Totally. When I'm saying all this, I am not trying to bash anybody who's having fun doing what they're doing. The intention is more to go. There's a lot out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options and there's no rules.
Right.
So you can have a framework, and a framework can help to get you set up and get your feet underneath you. But then break a rule here, break a rule there. There's nothing but more interesting things to try out while you're doing that.
Yeah, I have a system and I have a style that'll if you've seen my armies, they all kind of follow the same style, except for my Tau, which were the first army I painted coming back into the hobby. But everything else has kind of an armor gradient where I go and I do all that work with the airbrush, and then I'll usually do some kind of an oil wash where I'm recess shading everything, and then come in and do all the details with a base coat and an edge highlight. And it's kind of fun just playing with that system and getting, because I know how to get things to look the way I want them, but then I can push things in different ways, like I did with my Drukhari, where I'm just messing with the colors I'm using underneath and in the shadows. I didn't do a whole lot of interesting stuff with the Crimson Fists, but I really just wanted to flex the efficiency that I could get from this system and seeing how fast I can paint them, which is currently not fast enough. But maybe they'll get done. Maybe I think I finished about half of the infantry I'm bringing, but now the points dropped, so I have to bring some more.
That's how it always goes. Yeah, Mr. Carvili, I get how you feel about, apparently I like painting green.
That's great.
It's just, I do find that, I have my tropes. I have my things that I like. I really like dark blue greens and working that up towards a gray. I love a Payne's gray.
Yeah, I do really like painting reds.
I love painting reds too.
I don't know why I didn't do Blood Angels.
I feel like there's a lot of communication around I hate painting reds is so hard because it's transparent. I'm like, well, it's
a personal choice you made.
Well, no, it's not a downside of the paint. It's just a property of the paint.
Yeah.
So you just need to structure what you're doing around what you want to pull off with it. Sitting here trying to get a pink, and it is challenging out of this. I need
What are you like? I mean, you can get like a lilac.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm going for.
Yeah.
Like a lilac, and if I get a little bit of this brown in there, there's enough that kind of brings a little bit of red out. I don't know. We're working on it. The thing with a limited palette on this, unless you're really working with primaries.
Yeah, I actually don't think you have the right pigments on there to make like a pink.
No, it's going to be a lighter, warmer purple of what I got, which is fine. I could have brought different colors. What the secondary triad? I could have brought my green and purple and orange, and probably had some more space to work around with it, but okay.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty close here, but I do think that I'll save the armor.
Can I save the armor?
Yeah, for next week.
Oh, for next week.
Do it next week on the stream. Finish up. We'll actually do the interesting part of this model, not all the accoutrements.
Next week, I think I am going to be doing my Into the Sutterverse explosion, where I start painting all of my Relic Blade models, which I am just so very excited for.
Yeah, they look pretty cool.
They're super cool.
Yeah, so this is coming along. I mean, there's actually not that much left on here. I really have to clean up this black.
Yeah. I saw that start going down, and I was like, oof, I don't think that's exactly what you want.
No. There's actually... the thing is, it'll be fine, because I probably needed to do 2 coats of black on some of it anyway.
Sure.
So this is just making it a little bit darker. I even find that sometimes I have to do 2 coats of black when I'm going over black primer.
Sometimes.
And it's really, that's actually, for me, that's the hardest thing to tell. Because I actually can't tell whether I'm just seeing different sheens of black and that a little bit of varnish will fix it.
Yeah.
Or whether I am seeing different densities of paint on there.
Sure. Is there transparency to the black? Well, in the interest of we looking to wrap up soon. We're getting to be about that time. It's 8:30.
Yeah, I just have this blue paint out here.
I'm gonna do a couple last touches. Hit these teeth. Start working them up a little bit, and start finishing off the horns. And then that was pretty good progress for a day. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I thought there was a world where I got to do the white armor, but I thought it was pretty far-fetched. I did prime this last night, though. I remembered to do that.
Yeah, I know. We were talking about it. I'm like, I think I'm going to do this. I should probably go prime it.
This is really the part where I need to be pretty careful, because this color is very dark and very, very strong.
What's that?
This is
that blue?
Night Lord's Blue.
Night Lord's Blue. Wow.
Which is a very, very nice, very dark and very desaturated blue.
Yeah, they look, with the ultra matte varnish on them, they look like you just want to put them in your mouth. There's something to it.
I actually cheated. I put a little bit of matte varnish in. I do 1 part matte to 3 parts ultra matte, and it just adds the right amount of surface to it that it doesn't look fuzzy anymore. They were never fuzzy. I wasn't getting fuzzy models from the varnish, but it was so matte that it looked fuzzy.
Sure.
And it really just adding a little bit of matte varnish into the mix. It really made it so it just like the color, the highlights, everything just pops in a way that it didn't before.
Well, it's got that texture has enough, adds a lot of interest to the model. Like it draws your eye, it makes you want to engage with it more.
Yeah. Wow, that's so dark.
When you put it next to white, yeah.
Yeah, so I have this here. I have pale gray blue, which is what I use as a mix to highlight it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this really nice even base coat. I'm going to come back with a dry brush, and I'm going to really brighten everything up. And I'll use I try not to use pure white to lighten my colors ever because it just tends to like really blow things out.
Just goes too fast.
Yeah. So I have this here. So I have this pale gray blue for the Night Lord's blue, and then for the yellow. So he's an apothecary, right? So he has a little lamp on his shoulder. So I brought Averland Sunset out to do that with, and then I brought Ivory. So it's just it's giving me a very bright color to highlight with, but it's not going to just blow that color out immediately. And in both cases, I actually wanted to desaturate the color as well, because the whole palette with these guys is fairly desaturated on a lot of it.
Please punch.
I do really want to try to do a ultra bright scheme on some of I got a box of Zinch Flamers, and I want to paint them some just like crazy saturated colors, and try to do just all the highlights and all the recess shading with adjacent colors on the color wheel to create perceived shadows and highlights.
Sure.
Because I don't want to desaturate anything by adding white or black to it.
It's a fun way to paint.
Yeah. And they're like the models are so textured and so expressive that it's not that hard to do that. Mm-hmm. Wow, that is so dark. It's so dark.
It's going to look like a marble.
Yeah. It reads as almost black. I don't know what you folks are seeing on stream, but...
Oh, I'm holding my model beneath our faces.
I think we're just coming up on time here.
Yeah.
So...
At your leisure.
We gotta say the things. You gotta smash the subscribe button.
Oh yeah.
Give us a like if you're enjoying what
you're seeing. If you're still here, holy shit.
If you're still here, tell your friends if you think they'll like it. Tell your friends if you don't think they'll like it, but they should watch it anyway.
We're gonna keep working on stuff.
Yeah.
This is day one.
Tell us what you want to see. If there's any like techniques, questions, things you want us to work on, just let us know. We're winging it, and we're going to
obviously winging it,
and we're going to be a little more organized as we go, as we learn what works and what everyone wants. As long as we're having a good time and you're having a good time,
we're gonna do it.
Keep doing this. Oh wow,
Mr. Carvilli, what a great fan.
What a champ we have.
What a champ, absolute champ.
Yeah.
Rat.
And we got most of the apothecary. I mean, honestly, like if I based him and put him on a table, no one would say he's not done.
Oh yeah, I've seen much less known. Hey, look at all these guys. And we called them out.
Yeah,
because they weren't talking to us. But that's okay. They're busy. Monkey figure scream. You get us a monkey figure, and I will paint a monkey figure.
Oh, we can get the cyborg monkey.
The Jokero?
Yeah.
I think Monkey Man has the Jokero.
Yeah,
but
we can
I know that's it. I'll paint a monkey. Couple hours work. I'm happy.
Yeah. I'm only disappointed with the black. We learned
that you don't like black Templar. It's not the thing.
It's not the thing for me.
No.
So, but now we know.
Oh. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, do the whole thing. We'll see you next week.
Yep.
Same time, same place. Let us know if this is a terrible time for you, but I think it works all right.
Yeah.
All right. Later, everyone.
See ya.